You are going to watch a special video from our course based on my literary trails to the UK. This course is unique in the history of Vallath because we went directly to the UK, made videos from there, and through those videos, I am teaching about authors, works, and also literary theories. This course is immensely helpful for you to understand where the authors lived, how they lived, and why their novels are set here. You get a deeper understanding of characters and situations, and also you get lots of ideas for your research. Because I'm continuously connecting these authors and works and situations and settings with concepts in literature, with ideas, new developments. It is an amazing course. Watch this video, and if you like this method, you can join this course because it is unbelievably inexpensive. Why we are doing this is to help you get a totally new understanding of our beloved discipline, English literature. Sylvia Plath was a brilliant writer, one of the most famous of the American poets. She was born in 1932 and her life ended tragically in 1963 when she committed suicide. Plath was also a major novelist and short story writer. She contributed significantly to the confessional style, delving deep into personal themes and emotions. That was in the 1950s. Her poetry emerged as a fierce flame of raw emotion, diving deep into the human psyche. Her poetry is laden with vulnerability and strength, with the many layers of the human condition: heartbreak, mental anguish, a ceaseless quest for identity, always groping for meaning in a world clogged with darkness. Plath was born in Boston in Massachusetts. She married the English poet Ted Hughes in 1956, and this partnership deeply influenced her work. Eventually, when Ted Hughes left her for another lady, Plath fiercely wrote her poetry using vivid, harrowing imagery intertwined with themes of death, rebirth, and mental illness. And then she committed suicide. Her poetry was for Plath a cathartic expression, inviting readers into the depths of her own emotional landscape. Her best poems are collected in the collection Ariel, which came in 1965 after her death, published posthumously, featuring poems like Lady Lazarus and Daddy. Lady Lazarus presents Plath's suicide attempts and phoenix-like resurrection from death and despair, transcending mortality with biting sarcasm, lashing out at the patriarchal society and revealing her indomitable spirit. Her collection, called Ariel, is a mix of despair and defiance, similar to the poem Lady Lazarus, where nature's magnificence is juxtaposed, it's mirrored in her inner turmoil. Plath wrote confessional poetry, delving into the depths of her own emotions and psyche, revealing them in many of her poems, sometimes using Holocaust imagery, her love-hate relationship with her own dad, and her explorations of mental health. That is what constitutes her novel, The Bell Jar, published just a few months before Plath's death, mirroring her own experiences. It was published under the pseudonym Victoria Lucas. Plath's poetry is so universally acclaimed, partly because of its rich and vivid imagery and complex symbolism. her deft handling of emotions through objective correlatives like moon, bees, flowers. How she gives a new voice to women's struggle for identity, the struggles of womanhood. Her work is challenging as well as embracing personal suffering, as well as the intricate dynamics of personal relationships. Her relationship with her dad, with her mom. There are poems like Medusa, which are about her mother, her children. Some of her poems are about her children, and of course, Ted Hughes. The influence of Sylvia Plath on contemporary poetry is immense, especially among female poets. Because of her candid exploration of mental illness and personal trauma, writers have since then begun to write with greater transparency and boldness. Plath's life and works have inspired a lot of biographies and even movies, not to mention the critical analyses that her work has rendered itself to. She is now a cultural icon, not only in America, but everywhere in the Western world, especially the UK. Now, what are the research areas that we can think of in relation to Sylvia Plath? Because of the deep interconnection between Plath's work and her life, obviously, we can look at biographical studies in relation to Sylvia Plath and also trauma. We can club writers like Adrienne Rich and Nan Sexton, writers from LGBTQ community or marginal communities, and look at how they have given voice to their identity and problems through depictions of depression, personal challenges, and tumultuous relationships. This also borders on feminist studies, obviously, because Plath is consistently rejecting and questioning traditional female roles and expectations. Remember, Plath came at the beginning of the feminist movement of the 1960s, the sexual revolution that rocked the United States of America. And also, there is a lot of psychological analysis, psychoanalytic interpretation that Plath's poetry has rendered itself to. The use of the theories of Freud and Lacan and Carl Jung, especially in the context of mental illness, and the metaphors that she used to depict the female psyche. Plath has also traversed the modernist and postmodernist developments, the perspectives. She has employed intertextuality. She has employed references to cultural contexts. At the beginning of the Bell Jar, she refers to murder, the execution of the Rosenbergs, the Cold War era, the coming of beat poetry. All this can be found to have resonances in Sylvia Plath's work. And Plath's writing is maybe an expression of gynocriticism, an expression of what is female authorship, what are the female patterns of writing. And today we talk about intersexuality, which is also a very pertinent theory that you can apply to Sylvia Plath's poetry. And of course, the abundance of nature imagery and environment in her poetry is connecting us to an awareness of ecological issues and ecological themes and how it relates to feminism and cultural studies. So, Sylvia Plath is a great milestone in the history of English literature. The theories and approaches, the memories, the emotions that surround Sylvia Plath is a testimony to the complexity and enduring significance of her work. It is my greatest blessing, it's my greatest achievement, I would say, that I have been able to visit the grave of Sylvia Plath, where she has been laid to rest. I could spend time there. I could reflect on Plath's poetry, and it has translated beautifully. That experience has translated beautifully in my lectures on Sylvia Plath and other feminist writers. It has enriched me as a teacher and a human being. Thank you, Sylvia Plath.